Hey there gamer guys and gals and fellow critics, my name's Richie, and for today's blog spot I'm asking myself the question, are video games too expensive? And I'm asking you this question as well. These days it's not uncommon for many video games to have DLC, downloadable content, released after the original copy of the game has hit the shelves. Now, sometimes this is a very good thing. There is some amazing DLC out there. But if you take the price of a game these days, it's usually about, what, 50 bob, 60 bob, 70 bob. When I say bob, I'm referring to currency generically. That could be euros, could be pounds, could be dollars, could be Canadian bucks. You get the drill. So say you buy a video game, brand new game, that's 70 bob. And then a few months later, there's DLC, and you have to pay 20 bob to get that. And then another DLC, 20 bob to get that. Or you can get a season pass, which is usually about 30 bob. So if you buy the original game and get the season pass, that's, on average, 100 bob. If your name is Bob, this must seem very weird to you right now. So, back to the point. That's a lot of money for one game. They really are raking in the cash with DLC, and when there is so much extra DLC content, I feel kind of cheated. I feel like I haven't bought the full game. Even if you pre-order the game and you get exclusive content, there's still all the extra DLC, so you're paying all the extra money and you're not even getting the full content of the game. They call it extra content. I call it something I cannot say on public forum. When I was growing up, you had video games, and anything that they conceived for the video game after it was released, they would call that a sequel. And I agree with that, it makes sense. Any extra content or features or gameplay that was conceived or devised would go into the sequel. And that's why every sequel you would get, you just get a better game, because it's building on what they discovered in the first one. These days, not so much. I bought Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, and I got the season pass, whoop whoop. But then they started releasing content that wasn't involved in the season pass, because apparently it was a new season. So what, I've bought the original game and the season pass, but there's extra content that's not included in the season pass, but they're not selling a season pass for that either. And again, it just feels like a big rip-off. The video game industry is huge. It's a big industry. It's as big as sports, it's as big as catering. It has taken on a life of its own. It is massive nowadays, no matter what parents tell you. It takes so much to create a good game. You have script writers, concept designers, computer wizards, soundtrack gurus, directors and editors, and wow, and all the time it takes to render and the hardware. A lot goes into making a video game, more than you could possibly imagine. So I can understand why prices would increase as games get better. It's logical, it makes sense. They've got to pay the bills. But speaking personally, in today's economic climate, I'm prepared to wait for my video games. You do get some great bargains on games. I was amazed when Hellblade came out and it was only 30 bob. 30 bob for a brand spanking new game. It was only available on digital download, but fair enough. But it was a great game, and it's reached pivotal acclaim by taking into consideration that people just cannot afford to spend all that money on one game. I love video games. I would buy every video game that was on the shelf if I could, but it's not possible. There is just not enough money in my pocket, and I think that that's true for a lot of gamers out there as well. So I'm prepared to wait, because eventually, unless you're Nintendo, your video game prices do drop. And what I really love is remastered versions. They remaster versions of video games with all the extra content. Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 remastered for the PS4. That had so much content. Devil May Cry 4 remastered. Uncharted remastered. All these remastered classics that they brought over from the PS3 with all their extra downloadable content for a fraction of the price. So by waiting just a little bit, you're getting more and paying less. The biggest bargain I ever did, I bought Batman Arkham Knight with all the downloadable content for 25 bob, marked down from 100. All the DLC, that's an amazing deal. How can I say no? And I have to be honest, most of the extra DLC just was not worth it. The skins were amazing, the story packs were okay, I guess, but not worth what they were originally priced. The only DLC story pack for Arkham Knight I would say was worth it was the Batgirl A Matter of Family DLC. It was its own story pack, it had a really honking big new area to explore, and it was very well done. It's very well played. If you have Arkham Knight and worried about the story packs, get the Batgirl one. The others, it's fun to play as the characters in the combat arena, but I wouldn't rate it. So for DLC, some of it's worth it, some of it's not. But the only way to really know for sure is to pay for it and play it. And even from a business perspective, I don't even know if that's really working very well. But what do you think? My question for you today is, are video games too expensive? And also I'd like to know, what is the most you have ever spent on a video game, and was it worth it? Was it a day one edition? Was it a pre-order? Was it one of those season passes things? Was it one of those deals that come with those amazing anime figurines that I cannot put on my shelves anymore? Please let your opinions be known in the comments section below, and if you enjoyed this rant, please give a thumbs up, like, share on social media, and subscribe. And speaking of video games with DLC, why don't you check out our gameplay section here on IG Critic, and I'll see you next time. I'm Richie. Ciao!